Podcasts. They are a long format interview type content, and I personally have consumed over 100 hours of this. I personally listen to business and entrepreneurial self-improvement type podcasts, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing the best advice I've heard in the 100 hours plus I've watched of them. I'm going to get straight to the point in today's YouTube video. However, if you would like to access my bank of knowledge from these 100 hours outside of YouTube hours, then look at the top link in the description and book a free one-on-one meeting with me where we can discuss what we'll take you through on the 21 days we'll work together. The first podcast I'm going to be talking about is a rather broad section from Modern Wisdom. This is a podcast that has a broad variety of guests on, and I'm going to be going over some advice I've received from it in the past. So the first piece of advice is from Chris Williamson, the guy who actually runs the podcast over at Modern Wisdom, and he came up with a quote which I really resonate with. His quote goes, "Preparing to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Scheduling time to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Telling people you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Writing a banger tweet about doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading a book on doing the thing isn't doing the thing. The only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing." A tongue twister, to say the least, but I do think it talks a great deal on the glorified procrastination aspect of preparation for work. Sometimes you just need to jump in and get going with it. Next up from the Modern Wisdom podcast is Gwenda Bogle's Deferred Happiness Syndrome quote. A common feeling that your present life is just a prelude to your more idyllic future is a mirage that will fade upon approach and reveal that this prelude is the prelude to your death. Again, super powerful quote. I find it really resonates with a lot of people who rush through life with no thought. Being present in scenarios is very important. Hard work is important, and doing the work is important, and making progress is important, but sometimes you just need to appreciate the fact that you woke up today and you're living and breathing and watching this video. So be more present, from Gwenda Bogle. Next up in this video, I have a piece of advice from the Modern Wisdom podcast again. The episode with Mike Israel. He is a professional bodybuilder and has a PhD in physical science. This bit of advice is super simple and avoids any confusion found in the gym. So his advice was to have 4 to 8 working sets between each muscle group. For chest, have 4 to 8 working sets between that muscle group. So this could be 2 sets in one, 2 sets in another, 2 sets in another exercise, and then you'll reach 6, which is the mean of the 4 to 8. So just clears any confusion. This doesn't include warm-up sets, I may add, so make sure you're heavily warmed up with 1 to 2 sets of light exercises to get the blood flow into the muscle group, and then engage in 4 to 8 sets of working exercise. Next up in today's video is Alex Hormozi's Forcing Your Own Luck. See, this man is very inspirational, motivational to many entrepreneurs out there, and he is very well known for talking about how you can force your own luck via hard work. So he says, rather than focusing on 1 silver bullet, you should shoot 100 steel bullets off, and you'll have a high probability of you hitting the shot. This is just because the more work you put in, the more chance you have of being lucky, as you're putting yourself into the scenario and opportunities where luck can arise, and therefore you're forcing your own luck and making more progress into your life. Very powerful. Next up, we got John Lissell. He is a historian who is also featured on the Modern Wisdom podcast, and in an episode I listened to quite recently, he talked about, funnily enough, CIA tactics, or OBS, during the original World Wars, and they dyed foxes with radiation paint to scare the Japanese during wartime. So there's an ancient myth that if a glowing fox appears on Japanese soil, it's a terrible omen. And obviously during wartime, Japan was trying to get a bit freaky with America, so the CIA at the time decided to have experiments with foxes and radiational paint to see if they could create a realistic glowing fox to chuck on Japan's soil and scare the people into not engaging in war with America. I just found this really funny. I thought I'd keep it in today's video because again, it's not technically actionable advice, but it was quite a fun fact that I thought I'd add in. The next podcast that I've listened to a lot of is Andrew Huberman's Huberman Lab. So this guy is a neuroscientist from Stanford University, and I've listened to a lot of his podcasts, maybe 20 hours plus. Really useful, actionable advice that you can add to your daily routine. So firstly, optimal work timing. I spoke about this in a previous video, but get your average wake up time. So for me, that would be around 7 a.m. minus 2 hours, and you have your temperature minimum, and then add 5 hours and you'll be in the area of your most optimal 90-minute window. So wake up time minus 2 hours, add 5 hours, and you'll be in the area of your optimal 90-minute work window where you can have the most focused, productive work. The next tip from Andrew Huberman's podcast for focus is actually a rather niche one. He talks about the seat angle compared to your monitor. So he proposes, via various studies he researched, that having your seat angle to point up towards your monitor above eye level engages you more in your productive work. So he says this is due to a primitive reflex of having your eyes engaged higher. Naturally, your eyelid is going to have less exposure, and your eyeball is going to have more exposure, which keeps you in a more alert, awake position, allowing you to engage in longer sessions of work. Next up, from Andrew Huberman again, I love his work on morning routines. So he is very passionate about getting morning sunlight and low solar sunlight straight into your eyes in the morning. This is due to the looms of the sky being far greater than that coming off your phone in the morning or artificial light in your house. So the morning loom is going to not only ink you up faster due to the serious increase of light compared to your own house, it's also going to stimulate the pineal gland in an intracellular nuclear timer to time your melatonin release in the future. So to put this simple, your body has a very cool timer that is awakened by large light in the morning. Go outside, get the large light, activate the timer, and then 11 to 12 hours later, when you're ready for bed, it will release the melatonin and you'll have an easier, greater sleep. Lastly, from the Huberman podcast, NSDR, non-sleep deep rest, has been a game changer in my own personal life. This is probably the most actionable advice I can give you in today's video. NSDR is a game changer. It is a non-sleep deep rest meditation of some sort, also called Yoga Nidra, I believe. This type of meditation is incredibly impactful to your central nervous system and the way your body runs optimally. So please check it out. I have a personal limited knowledge over the neuroscience of why NSDR is so powerful. However, I just know it works for me well. I feel refreshed, I feel I have restored vigor, and I feel ready to go whenever I get it completed. It's something I've added into my own personal habit tracking and my own personal daily routine, as I really do see the benefits are massive in my opinion. The last podcast or podcaster I've included in today's video is Hamza Ahmed, the cult leader of the Hedonist cult, as he calls it. This guy is really inspirational. I love his story. I love the way he speaks. He has a really incredible storytelling skills. And I've listened to a lot of his podcasts, or I guess you can call them podcasting, or long format videos, but I wanted to add them to today's video. So the first bit of advice he's given me via his podcast is YouTube tips. So I am attempting to make it as a YouTuber at the moment, or in my niche. And he says consistency is the most powerful tool for YouTube algorithm. So as you can see, by scrolling back through my videos, I've posted very consistently. I've implemented his actionable advice and I've seen good benefits. I've got 25 subscribers in the last 28 days, 4K channel views. It's going well for a small channel like myself. So I've taken his advice and it's worked reasonably well. Be consistent, post often, and post decent content that actually gives good advice. This is the 3 tips he gave, and yeah, it's worked well for me. Next up, he gave me a lot of advice on gratitude journaling. This is something I've recently added as well to my daily routine and habit tracking. Being grateful is a really important skill in today's world. A lot of the time you can get caught up in materialism and potentially malpractices like that, so just taking a minute to step back, humble yourself, and just get present in the moment of what you're grateful for is a really nice, wholesome part of the day for me at the moment. Lastly, linking back a little bit there, is habit tracking. Hamza Ahmed is incredibly pro habit tracking. He has stickers on the wall, paper on the wall, loads of stuff like that. Personally, I just have a little habit tracking section in my journal here, and yeah, I find it incredibly useful to track my goals, track my habits, track my productivity, and track the progress I'm making in my life. Just create a simple chart like that. I'll link a video up here on how to make one, and yeah, you'll see great improvements implementing this. I hope you got value from today's video. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one again, please look at the top link in the description. We can get something going over the 21 days, and I swear I can make you a more productive person. You have so much potential. Please reach out. That'll be all for today's video. I really hope you take action if there's actionable advice in this video. Shout out to the podcast I talked about in today's video. So we have Andrew Huberman's Huberman Lab, Hamza Ahmed, he's a YouTuber, but you can find him on a lot of podcasts. Modern Wisdom from Chris Williamson, incredible podcast, one of my favorites, literally my favorite out there at the moment. And yeah, big shout out to them and the content they put out over the 100 hours I've watched them. Thank you.